So I'm going to advocate because I'm the one who brought
Well, I'm
this.
asking the question
But
here
I
about the
brought this
funding.
forward to the city council and to city staff for consideration. And I think Tom's analogy to the Tree City USA program is similar to that. We have received significant donations of trees and money for trees by virtue of our participation in that program. I think our participation in the Let's Move initiative is a feather in our caps for the Active Living Task Force, is a feather in our caps for Safe Routes to School, for International Walk to School Day. It's a model of cooperation between local government and the school district, and I think it affords us some, we participate in an employee wellness program, and the benefits of that are that people's health insurance premiums are less. So we hope that they will continue to be that way. So I think if we're already doing these things and the reports are already at hand, I see not a huge issue with cut and paste. And if it's an issue of filing those reports, for my duration of my term, I'm willing to do that myself. Gary, would you like to respond to Sue's
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. You're absolutely right. There are no financial incentives in this now. Some of the discussions in the webinars were that they hope that at some point there will be some federal funding. As you read the materials, I think they said that they estimate a $147 billion obesity problem, or $147 billion in health costs that they can relate, at least in some degree, to obesity. Federal government, I think, feels that if they can combat this at a grassroots level, then that can bring that down. That, of course, is how you start with some federal grant funding. So the intimation, at least, is at some point there may be some funding. Is it in this? Absolutely not. And that's something that was picked up on. We had the discussion upstairs about that. We had the discussion at the committee about that as well. There is nothing in here that says you will get funding. There is only the opportunity, if it's not onerous to do, to position yourself that should funding come available at some point, that we would be able to hopefully position ourselves a little better to take advantage of that funding. Again, it's a new program. I'm not here to advocate to you saying there will be funding. I'm here to tell you that we have worked on it, staffed it, determined that we don't believe the reporting is going to be onerous. Now, as far as the policy decision of whether the city should be involved in this, I leave that to the elected officials.
Okay. Anybody who's not talked yet? Tim?
Well, I support fixing potholes and making sure our fire trucks start and can get out of the garage. I support all that sort of stuff. I think this is simply an attitude thing. I support Let's Move. I don't think it's going to cost the city very much, if any, money. So I think it's a great idea. I like the attitude. It's positive. It's what I think we as leaders should put forth as far as kids and eating correctly and getting a little exercise. I'm in favor.
And it's something we've had strong support from the council on Parks and Rec offerings as well. So, Wayne?
Well, let's continue talking about it. I guess we want to, but I absolutely support the things that the city does from the standpoint of, my goodness, look at the money that we spend on bicycle paths, and we're talking about public transportation, which is important. We've installed bus shelters. Our Parks and Rec program, I think, is an example that we can stand up before any city of what we do, and we do scholarships. We do so much of this that's really a positive thing. I think, to me, this is one of these feel-good programs that's put out by the federal government, so that is not going to have any tangible basis for results that you can measure. And I have to agree with Walter to an extent, is that I'm not sure this is where the city needs to be. You can't be everything to everybody. And I agree. Parents need to step up and tell their kids, it's time for you to stop watching television and go outside and find something to do. It's the parents' responsibility to teach their children how to eat properly, not our responsibility. When we can continue to promote our parks and recreation programs, our bicycle path programs, our parks programs, I think these are great. And I'll continue to support those all the time. But I think that, personally, I'm sorry, but I think this is frivolous.
Have we heard all those from admin committee that was discussed there?
Dan's not here.
That went to the new admin committee.
The new admin committee.
Yeah,
That's
that
why I'm
was
wondering,
Dan-
well, I'm
Dan-
just
Dan
wondering
and
who
Chris-
was there, who's able to
Tim and
report
I.
on that. Okay, Walter, can you follow up?
Just a couple of final things, again, agreeing with Wayne. We have decided that it's a really good thing to put trees on this grass prairie, and that's why we have trees in Moscow, and we have policies and ordinances that have some regulatory effect on the trees. We have employees who have elected to give us their time, energy, efforts, and intelligence to provide the city the best possible employees we can have. And for that, we have a program to provide them with wellness, which helps us in terms of what it costs us to buy their health insurance. I think those two programs are extremely valuable. We've signed on to them. I do not think that they are the same as telling non-city employees, people that have elected to live in Moscow, that they need to quit having fat kids. I just don't want to go there. I don't think it's our place. I'll call the question.
Okay, got a call for the question. Everybody ready to vote? Okay, we have Walter's motion and Wayne's second to deny participation in the or the Let's Move initiative. We'll start the roll call vote with Tim.
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so
So may I
that's
ask
3-2.
Procedural question, does three
So
no's
if you
on a
wanted
no mean yes to approve?
So I would entertain a motion for approval of,
I'd like to make
so
a-
that motion failed, so it's 3-2 against, and so if I would entertain a motion in the affirmative so that it makes a little more logical
Didn't
sense.
understand the
I-
motion.
I understood
I would like to make
said
a
no.
motion to approve joining the Let's Make a Move initiative in Partnership for a Healthier America.
Okay, we have Tom's motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Tim's second. Other discussion?
Well, if Nancy's willing to do the reports, and it's not going to cost the city employees time and money, then, but I'm concerned about, it says, once an elected official signs up, he or she will choose at least one significant action to take in each of the 4 pillar areas. Does that mean each person in the city council has to do something in the next 12 months on each of the 4 pillars? Because I'm not signing up for that.
No, I don't, if I may. I don't believe that's, and again, that's where the director came out very strong in the webinar. Within weeks, they were retracting that because I think everybody had the same question Moscow has. So no, the idea, again, at least the way we're perceiving it, is that we celebrate the things that we're doing, we report on those things, and when making decisions like approving programs and things like that, that you consider how healthy lifestyles work into it.
Can we vote?
As long as it's not going to require more work when we just say what we already did.
I guess my concern, Gary, is you're saying, that I mean, it's here in black and white on this paper that they provided us, and that's exactly what it says. But you're saying, well, no, they've kind of backed off. Verbally, they've said, no, you don't need to, you're not expected to do that. So then why haven't they reprinted this in something that's a different manner? It's like, it's not a contract, I understand that, but that's what it says.
If I may.
Please.
If there were consequences for withdrawing, then I would say absolutely, we need to look at it in the context of it being a contract. As there is no penalty, the federal government has no hold on whether you participate or not. You may approve this week and disapprove it in 2 weeks, or disapprove of it in 2 weeks. So I would like it to be clearer. Do I think it's a risk? I don't.
if I may, one last comment. The problem that I have with this thing, Gary, is exactly what I just said. This thing is pretty definitive as to what they expect us to do. Verbally, they're saying, well, you don't really have to do that. Granted, it's not a contract, but as a city council person, when I sign on to something, and I look at it, and I've read it, and it says, this is what you're going to do, and I sign on to it, then that's what I'm going to do. That's why I'm not going to sign on to this, because I'm not going to do that. And I see if this is followed by the letter, there is some big expenses in it, and there's a lot of reporting, and there's a lot of organization. And if they want to promote this, and they would like us to accept it, then they need to rewrite this so it's not as definitive.
Walter?
Thank you, ma'am.
I agree with that.
Item 4, I was hoping not to have to do this, but I want people that are watching on television and the newspaper, if they care, to understand what we're buying into here. It says, Mayor, this is one of the pillars. Mayors and municipal officials can expand the availability of affordable, healthy food in their communities by taking the following steps. And Gary, it does not say, for example. It says taking the following steps.
Can, C-A-N, that was the beginning of that.
Excuse me.
What says that?
Offer incentives to new and or existing food retailers to offer healthier food and beverage choices in unserved areas. Are we going to provide subsidies to Winco to quit selling sugared Pepsi? 2, pass food policies that require food and beverages purchased with government funds to meet certain nutrition standards. The example that I used in committee was Kathleen's going to have to work through that to do a reception for the 3rd Street Gallery art openings. Establish a policy to apply nutrition standards to all food sold, such as meal menus and vending machines within local government officials. When I said, does that mean the Pepsi machine's coming off the first floor, I don't know who it was, but somebody in the back of the room said, no way. I think it was one of our staff people. Require access to free and safe drinking water in public places. We don't have water fountains at every public park. Are we going to have to start stocking and providing bottled water at our cost? Ensure that residents can access healthy and affordable food through public transportation. We've talked about that tonight. By realigning bus routes, providing free shuttles and other means. We've been wanting a 3rd north-south bus route in this town for years and can't seem to get that without realigning the buses. We already haul a bunch of people to Winco, but they may be selling the wrong kind of stuff. Promote policies that support and protect community gardens. We have a community garden, but mayors can work with neighborhoods. That's one that we do. 2 more and I'll be done. Form a local food policy council or participate in an existing one. I see another city commission with people appointed by the mayor, approved by the council, that meets maybe monthly, that we get to liaison with, and come back and report what we're doing on food policy in the city of Moscow. I'm going to vote no.
Gary?
Again, I fully understand what you're saying, and the operative word, as Tom pointed out, is can. These are examples.
It doesn't say examples, Gary.
It doesn't say shall either. If it said they shall, municipal officials shall perform these programs. But, however, I understand your discomfiture. There is nothing that binds the city to any sort of penalty if this is not something that the council wants to continue. I'll leave it at that. As I said, the policy decision is up to the council. We have analyzed it as staff. Don't believe that it will have a large amount of work to do the reporting.
Okay. Tom?
I've read through this several times, and I see this particular list that Walter read as a list of examples. It says, for example, it says can, and I think that these are just examples of ways that the community can demonstrate leadership on the item number 4, make healthy food affordable and accessible. And there are examples of things that we're already doing. And I think that just by being able to demonstrate those examples to others in this community and other communities around our region, we're helping to provide some leadership on healthy lifestyles and healthy living. So I just see it as a way to encourage others to be part of this as well. So I don't really see it as a way to make us do anything differently or better. Maybe we are good examples already, but it's an opportunity for us to demonstrate that. And that's why I support it.
Sure. The 4 areas for action are helping parents make healthy family choices. And so maybe that's a health and wellness class in the grade schools. And, you see some children's posters about those things, or their participation in the community garden, creating healthy schools. I mean, clearly that's a reason for me to sit down and have lunch with Superintendent Kleinert more often, to talk about those things, and maybe the role of students in maintaining a garden plot and learning about those things. Providing access to healthy and affordable food. Well, those who've sat in on the Poverty on the Palouse forums know that, the SNAP program, exchanging food stamps for fresh foodstuffs at the farmer's market and edible plant starts. That's a really wonderful example that we would love to see grow into a statewide farmers market association, and similar participation by other communities around the state. Promoting physical activity. We do that all the time in our Parks and Rec programs. So, so many of these things are already in place, and we have new programming consistently every year, or every season.
Let me ask you a question then, if I may.
Wayne, sure.
Can you guarantee us being the council, that the city will not capitalize this program? We won't see new commissions formed, and we won't see more controls put in. If I can get that type of a guarantee, then I can support it. But I will not support more commissions. I will not support any kind of capitalization on this.
I think we will capitalize on it. I think
You know what I'm talking about, spending money.
Spending money, right. There's the Active Living Task Force is another piece that is kind of aligned with this effort. It relates to Safe Routes to School. It relates to the Bike for Life Committee. These are already ongoing. And so I can conceive of some kind of a listserv or some integration of those different groups who are working on similar objectives to sort of share their ideas and work together more efficiently. Whether you call that a new committee, I don't know. I'm not in for creating more meetings or more city expense either. Whether it plays into something else we do, I can't say at this point. If we have a grant opportunity, or we have a proposal for a new school facility that requests some kind of an organization like that, it could happen. So I don't know how this will evolve over time. But right now I have no objectives of creating new commissions. I can't make you promises.
Well, that's my biggest fear. I mean, I can see this growing into some kind of a bureaucratic mess that's going to cost us money. And I see nothing in here that tells me that it won't be. And Tom, it says can, and
Then-
there's examples, but it leaves it wide open for that to happen.
Well, then say we quit. We don't like this anymore. Sue?
I'm hearing what you're saying about other organizations in the community doing parts of this, and if you're willing to write the reports, and we can collate what the town, all the different organizations in the town are already doing, and we qualify, great, because we're already doing it. But if it's going to give us a laundry list of more things to do,
I think it's more likely documentation of the things we're already
Yeah.
doing, and likely we are already obligated to document that,
Right.
tracking grants and
Right.
preparing for grant
Right.
opportunities.
Because I think
so
we've already
that's-
done this. I think we've already qualified, and that's fine. I just don't want to add any additional work.
No, I don't either. Anybody else? Walter?
Last thing, promise. Gary? it's not a vote of the council, but Sue doesn't want, and the mayor committed to doing the paperwork on this. I may very well, somewhere down the road, ask you the question, have any of our employees done anything on Let's Move?
As far as I know, I've never lied to an elected official. So-
Don't start.
I don't intend to start.
Okay.
However, I will advise you that I think that is an ill-advised thing to do. That a city program is, the reports are written by the mayor. Staff is here to support the work and the policies of the elected officials. So I would advise against that being a condition of whether this gets approved or not.
The documentation is ongoing. It is not my objective to add to the workload of city staff. I think this is advantageous both in terms of its outcomes and the image that it provides for other opportunities before the city, and the example that we set.
Call the question.
Okay, everybody ready to vote? We have a motion before the body, and I think it was slightly, the language was a little bit off, I think, the way you put it, but I think you approve joining the Let's Move initiative and partnership for a healthier America. Is that?
I just read approve joining the Let's Make a Move initiative and partnership for a healthier America.
It's just
As
Let's Move.
stated.
Oh, it's not supposed
I
to
was
be
just
Let's Make a
reading,
Move,
okay,
but
well,
Let's Move.
I just followed the
Oh.
staff recommendation language. Are you suggesting that it should be something
Well, it's
different
just
than what's in
Let's
the?
Move, not Let's Make a Move. Let's Move.
I think you just
said-
mispronounced the name, Tom.
Oh, I did? Okay. Approve joining Let's Move.
That's it.
Let's bust the
He'll
move.
move to move.
Let's bust the move out of
That's
this
the
place.
motion, and is that agreeable to the seconder there?
Oh.
Tim, is
Yes,
that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for that approval. Tim, we'll start the roll call vote with you.
I want to move.
Aye.
No.
I'll give you a shot. Don't burn me on this one. Aye.
No.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Gary.